Hi, welcome back to the Watercolour Westport Stories podcast. Today we are featuring a inn hotelier owner in Westport, and it is a destination in the village that has a deep history and a story that I think you're going to really enjoy hearing. So Seamus Cowan is here with us, and so welcome, Seamus.
Thank you.
I'm really glad you're here. It is exciting to sit down with you and hear some stories about a really wonderful place in the village. And Stephen Ralston. Hi, Steve. Again, here we are doing yet another podcast.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to today, Seamus.
Yeah, I'm really glad you spent the time with us, so thank you. So yes, you have probably one of the most iconic, memorable spots in the village of Westport. And Westport has such a deep, rich history that is a lot to say, actually. And you're carrying a legacy. So I would just love to hear a little bit about how you came about to this place where the Cove Inn is what it is today.
Sure, yeah. It's definitely a long history. As far as we understand, it's 100 years older than myself. 1876
Wow.
is the establishment date. So yeah, it's a long time. My family has also been here since 85.
Okay.
And we actually bought the Cove in 88. And so we've been here for a long time as well. A lot has changed, a lot has remained the same, which is sort of that, it's like a catchphrase that we almost have, which is an interesting thing. Because I think that when people think about Westport, they think about a place that is familiar and is, tells a story, remains a story. It's not brand new. It's a place that people can bring their successive generations and family to. And I think that's why it is so, enticing and, for this.
Appealing and attractive.
Exactly. And it's not just the surroundings, but it's also the community. Like I was even sitting at a baseball game last night, just chatting it up with some locals, talking about some local old characters, and it just makes me laugh so much. Like it's hilarious. But anyways, yeah, we've been here since '88.
Okay.
At the Cove since '88. I should say '85, but we had basically nothing when we moved here. My folks had quite a story. My father was a cattle salesman in the Calgary area. And we moved out here in a U-Haul and a station wagon. It was pretty funny. And since then, we bought the place across the street, which is since burned, called the Fredenberg House. And we started a B&B over there, and we also had a residence on the other side. And so for years, about 3 years rather, we developed that place. And then the man who lived across the street in the what is now the Cove, it was the Tweedsmuir. He passed away, and so my parents, with their foresight and tourism and all of that, they said, "Oh, we should probably look at considering this place." And it was rough.
Okay.
Yeah, like we're talking people were squatting in the in the upstairs. It was just a really rough old hotel, but it had a really great story.
Sure.
And it was like it is today, such a focal point of the community.
Yes.
And it was a bit different than it remains now, but at the same time, it was a pretty rowdy bar.
Okay.
And we also had there were rooms up above, but really none of it was being rented to the extent that we're renting them now. So over the course of these last 3 decades, we have done so much renovation. We've transformed things in a way, but we've also tried to stay true to the story and the real roots,
There's such beauty in that.
There is beauty in it.
And I
yeah.
love the idea of the continuity, because we talk about other communities, even around the province of Ontario, like the Muskokas or
Yeah.
other areas where people feel that there's a rich history that they want to bring their families back to. So I love that you can come back and there are things that stay the same, and that the Cove Inn has this iconic status in terms of just some of those traditions that you've kept.
Yeah, and some of those traditions have been kept. You know, we have a lot of music. We used to actually have bands, or before actually we owned the Cove. I know that bands were staying there and playing there for a week.
Wow.
It used to be a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is kind of like, I think to myself sometimes, could we do that? You know. So instead, we're not doing it like that exactly, but we do have live music every night.
Well, certainly when travel was a little bit more difficult, right? Like
Yeah,
they would either come
yeah.
by train or come by boat, or cars, even like getting here, navigating here might have been a little more challenging.
Right.
And not as easy as it is today, but.
Yes. It's interestingly enough, there are many people that come to the Cove by water, but most people seem to come by land, especially at this time of year. A lot of people think that most come by water, but no, we're very much a we're a day tripper kind
You're
of
a day
place.
trip kind of place, yeah.
Which I guess we kind of want to change, right?
We really want to make it a place that people can entertain this idea of a 48-hour viable minimum experience, as with that podcast I shared with you.
Yeah.
This idea of, from the Redemptification podcast, people will drive a tank of gas away for iconic food and beverage and a place to stay. And I immediately thought of you and sent that to you, because I just think that's so wonderful.
Yeah. I think on the tourism side that is so important. But from a living experience and from the homeowners that you're meeting, you're enriching their lives in a different way. How have you noticed or observed a change at the Cove as a result of folks that have chosen watercolor for their home and the growth of Westport?
Yeah, that's actually another interesting question, because a lot of people have said, oh wow, you know, that place down that area, the whole thing happening down the street, they're like, wow, there must be so many more people all year long. And I've definitely noticed a lot of return people that continue, or people that continue to frequent the Cove, and we've gotten to know well as, you know, just residents of Westport now,
just newcomers, absolutely.
We've definitely seen a change there, but I mean, I think that the whole town is continuing to retain its youth a bit more, which I like. You know, I'm noticing that some of our, you know, say, even surrounding families, and you know, obviously my children go to, not obviously, but my children go to school here, so I have a connection to the young families in town. But it used to be that so many people went away, and because there are more things to do and so many more people that are moving to the area, there are more reasons for people to stay to work here, and so that's a good sign. And I think that is a really good sign for me to see some sustainability in our business and the community. Just even like referencing the baseball game last night, just looking around, like it's a really vibrant little youth-filled community, and it was great to see last night. And I see that with hockey. I see that with all of these other sports that the kids are involved in, soccer. I mean, it's just teeming with young families. So, yeah, that is really important to me to see that we're not losing all of those families anymore. Right. And maybe there's a reason for that, which is that you know, you can look at economic reasons, you can look at just social community reasons. You know, it's a great thing for people to be able to live in a small town, know your neighbor, know your buddy down the street. You know that your kids can go down the street to hang out with their friends. But then they can also have a job in
Yes.
this area, that they can grow their family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. Your return to Westport.
I don't know if I answered your question.
I don't think you did, but we're gonna go anyway on a new thread here.
Okay.
Which I'm so happy about, because I'm curious to know, you stayed.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a departure and a return?
You hit it on the head. Yeah, it's true. No,
Because you're young.
I guess you could say that, you know, I was one of those people, right?
Okay.
Where I really enjoyed living in Westport all my life. I would consider myself a local, though a lot of the locals are known as locals in the sense that they have 2-3 generations of family here. I would consider myself, I guess, second generation right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I did move away. When I was finished high school, I had no idea really what I was going to do towards the end of high school, but I had thought, oh, maybe I will study some architecture. And I applied to go. I have a twin brother who lives in Australia, by the way. His name's Jeff.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't.
There you go. We were both broached with the idea that, hey, if you want to go and study, you're going to go and live in your grandparents' basement on Hun Club, just near the airport in Ottawa, and study architecture. And this is just after we had started to pick up instruments. And I was like, well, I don't know if that's really going to work.
My grandparents' basement doesn't sound all that appealing.
It just didn't.
No.
So,
as lovely as I'm sure they are.
So we both really, we both scrapped that idea, and we continued with music. Okay. And so we started to practice, and then we started our entrance exams to some universities, and I actually got into McGill. And I studied at McGill for 5 years in the jazz performance music program.
Okay.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we didn't actually mention yet, that you are an accomplished musician of your own right. Not only do you host musicians, but you perform as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I moved away. I'm one of those people that I was talking about before. But, you know, I thought that there was, you know, you never really know what you're going to do when you go to school. It's sort of an open book, essentially, no pun intended. But yeah, I ended up, you know, doing a lot of touring around, North America with some bands. And I was on the music scene in Montreal for a while. And then I said, well, my mother and father are asking me, hey, are we going to consider you taking over the Cove? And my brother and I were both thinking about doing that. He had met a woman from Australia who had she had come to visit her family who were living here on a sabbatical for a year. And basically they fell in love, and they ended up deciding after about a couple of years that they would move back to Australia. So then my sister, she was not necessarily, actually she had married, and she became part of another place over in Portland at Bayview Yacht Harbor with her husband Mike and my sister Jen. And so I was like, hey, this is, the Cove's waiting for me.
The spotlight was on you now, that's right.
I'm in Montreal, like, starving musician, literally. It was pretty bad, but it was a fun life. And then I said, well, I've got to move. I've got to make a move, and I have to make a decision. So I did move back here, and I was very happy to do that because I needed a change. And and then since then, you know, it's been very, very important for me to have music continuously in my life. Yes. And so it was all about, you know, having it as much as possible, bringing friends in that I knew from all around the, you know, the sort of Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto corridor. And since then we've been doing that. And it's been really great for me to continue to not only allow a place for people to play, but even a place for me to play. Yes. And enjoy entertaining people that way. Yeah.
it's a unique thing for a small village like Westport to attract the kind of talent that you do to the Cove. Yeah. Is that your vast network of
It is.
musicians? Okay.
Yes, it is. And it's not even a network that's needed. It helps, I suppose, but it's just your interest, you know? It's sort of that idea that it only takes one person to really get something happening if you really want it to happen, right? And I really feel like there are so many musicians that want to play all the time. I'm inundated all the time. After the third month we were all closed in the in the hospitality industry
during
from
COVID.
COVID.
Okay, yeah.
We had, I remember they called us, or we got a message from public health on a Monday saying, you can open on Friday. What? You know, like right away.
Yeah.
So I called everybody. I remember within a day or two, we had the whole summer booked because everybody that I knew in my network had basically said yes, just like right like that. And then we continued with it. And people were so generous and continue to be generous, which allows us to have this sustainable nightly entertainment to our artists. Yeah. And yeah, it's just been really great.
What are some of the highlights looking back in terms
in
terms of that artist that you just were so excited to have in your space, you know?
You know what? The thing about it is that there are so many, and for so many different reasons, and there are also just so many different levels of talent and so many different styles too.
Sure.
I have been influenced by so many styles in my own musical career.
Yes.
Studying jazz is not just what I am. You know, I'm way more than that. Like I studied from the beginning. I studied the blues with my buddy Eric and my brother Jeff, and then we started a rock and roll band, and then I got into literally everything after that. But that's what's so great about having a music venue is that you can have all kinds of music, and diversity is actually the best way to keep it sustainable. And I don't mean sustainable like in a monetary sense, in just an interest sense, right?
Sure.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that it has a life of its own that is self-fulfilling. Like it's not about, I know what you mean. It's not about the pocketbook and the bottom line all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I mean, I've really enjoyed bringing in so many different types of artists, but some of the ones that really stand out, I did once again have drawing on my community. My friend Chet Doxis, who's an unbelievable saxophone player that I studied with and played with at McGill in Montreal. He's a Montrealer. He brought in a couple of artists, and one in particular, one night was Dave Douglas and Steve Swallow. Do you know them?
No, I don't,
No,
but
so,
you're going to have to put it on my list.
Yeah. The jazz, it's a weird thing. The jazz community is so small,
yes,
but it's really not that well known in the same way. So even these like the greatest of the great in New York, you know, nobody knows who they are. I mean, it's just the way it is. But we were so fortunate to have those musicians come in, the Doxis brothers, with those two guys. And then he also brought in John Abercrombie, who's probably one of the greatest modern jazz guitar players as well. So those nights were amazing. I remember John was sitting with Oscar Graff, a local luthier in town, because he brought a guitar to show John. He's hopefully maybe going to sell it to him that night, but he had it open up in the lobby, and John's just in there smoking away. I didn't even bother to tell him to put it out, you know.
Yeah, no.
No, but I actually have some old recordings on my iPhone somewhere of those, so they're just mind-blowing. But so then we also have the blues series that we've done for years with our friend James Doran. He had a company called Choose the Blues Productions, and this is the 18th year we're doing the blues series. some incredible artists. I mean, they've
in the
all
winter
been
you had that chicken picking
Yeah,
Sundays
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Tell me about that. Like they had,
Sean
you
McCullough
seem to
and-
have so many different themes to your gatherings.
Well, that's another thing about, you know, it's just sort of, you know, doing live music every night was becoming a little bit exhausting for me to have a different artist every night. So we created some series or weekly series themes. And yeah, Sean McCullough has definitely been one that has held the flag. He's just incredible. I mean, he's one of those musicians that just flows out of him. He doesn't really have any boundaries. He is an incredibly accomplished musician, but he's also a very, very inviting character. So in that same way, we started an open mic, which he became the host of, and we've continued for, I don't know, Sean, if I'm asking you here to the microphone, how many years would that be? 15 years, I think, somewhere in there. I think it's even more than that now. Yeah. I remember actually we had this massive solar farm that was put in outside of Westport here. Do you know the one? It's between here and Newborough.
Yeah.
All of those workers moved in literally into Westport, and they took over a lot of our accommodation from what would it be? Was it Sunday night to Thursday night or Monday night to Thursday night? And they needed something to do, and I remember my mother said like, oh, why don't we just have like a wing special and have a guy play music on Wednesday nights? And that's really what it's been, wings and tunes since then. But
That's
I mean, it was just always full with those guys every night. So I guess there, you know, there are so many other good memories musically. We've had reggae bands, we've had funk bands. My brother and I, when we started 97, I think we started, 96, 97, right when I was about to go to university. My brother and I got in contact with this really well-known piano player and character named Spencer Evans, who is from Kingston. And we started a night every Thursday called Jazz Night. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I've seen your advertising for it on your social media, but I have not been. I need to stay in Westport for a week, I think, and just consecutively go every night.
Yeah. COVID kind of killed Jazz Night, unfortunately, just because of the fact that it was all about like dancing and, you know. But Jazz Night quickly became everything night, but we still called it Jazz Night. So anybody that knew about it, they got it. But if you walked into the room, it was like, you know, you're hearing Elton John, you're hearing like Billy Joel, that kind of stuff. But we basically played whatever anybody wanted to hear. It was all about just literally flowing with the moment. They were totally off the hook nights. Really great time. Yeah. He was an incredible musician, Spencer Evans. And I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of
beyond the music, you have
music,
hospitality in other ways. I know you use the venue for community events, fundraisers, those kinds of things that really enrich the lives of people that live in Westport. And I think that's really commendable and just part of community building. You're building relationships beyond even music lovers.
Yeah, it's really, you know, I feel like we're just holding the torch when it comes to stuff like that, right?
Like the fashion show that was for a fundraiser or other types of events, pancake breakfasts, whatever they are that you host.
Exactly. I feel like we're just continuing on and providing a space for these people and these places, and these events. Community is really important for those things because people need to know about what the needs are of certain organizations, and they also want to come and actually physically be together to do them. They don't want to just go like online, I'll give you $50, you know? Right. Yes. You know, so it's really important to, I guess it's become really important rather for us to have that place and people to know that we have that place. I feel like even, you know, so I've only since a year been the official owner of the Cove. But I feel like this winter was a really great example of that kind of community and those types of events, those charitable local community events for me. I just wanted to kind of align ourselves with more of those types of things, because I feel that it really helps everything, you know.
Yes.
And people spread the word about it. They feel good about it when they leave. They feel good about it when they arrive, of course. And so it's kind of like a win-win for everybody, you know.
Sure. I mean, it's a generosity on your part to open up the space to be available to these community groups, and it builds a wonderful, I'm sure, reputation, and continues a legacy for the Cove in that way, in the hospitality, because that's equally part of what you do. I'd actually be curious to hear a little bit more about how your food service has developed, because that's part of coming to Westport is dining, and people who want to live in Watercolour often say, well, where can I go for a nice meal, or that, you know, or an event that they need to host. Maybe they have guests from out of town. You do weddings. I mean, the whole gamut.
Yeah, there is a large gamut. It's actually a little bit dizzying sometimes. Sometimes I'm serious. Like, sometimes I think to myself, gosh, you know, we focus on a lot of things, and sometimes there's a little bit too much that maybe we focus on, but that's okay. We do it anyway, and it's great. And you know, we've expanded some things over the years.
Like you have that beautiful patio that overlooks the water. I mean, my
mother started our kitchen. Yeah, she studied home ec. She's a big cook, but yeah, my mother started our kitchen, and then we sort of went through a few years, and then there was this woman named Joanne Edwards that came along. She's an incredible cook, and she then taught a couple of our other staff in the kitchen now who are running it, Sarah and Emily Brown. And so I feel like our food continues to be incredible because of just this love for food. I mean, there's just really genuinely a love for food with our chefs. And our food is something that I feel is talked about a lot with people when they come back. We are not a fine dining place, but it's all about great flavor. It's all about heartiness. It's all about some familiarity. But I think every season, we just went through this, every season we put out a new menu every 6 months. We really like to change things up as much as we can, but we hear all this feedback from people saying, oh, don't take that up, don't take that, we want to see. It's almost like the whole story of the Cove, you know, don't take that away, we want that, right? You know what I mean?
I do.
So we're always battling with that, because, you know, if I sit down with Emily and Sarah, and Maureen as well, another one of our unbelievable people at the Cove, who's been here longer than I have. We really have this problem where we want to expand more,
right?
But we do make some changes, and it's great. And so we've done some changes to things, small changes to things that people are familiar with, and it's great to see how we morph and how we roll with those kinds of changes and needs.
And speaking to your staff, I know as a diner there, and as we've hosted events for Watercolour and Land Arc with our solar power speakers, our net zero ready, all that kind of thing. You do hospitality really well. People feel welcome.
Thank you. Yes.
And I think that the connection that your servers try to make with their guests, that are more than just putting a plate in front of you. You know, it's having a conversation or helping them figure out. I was here with my mother-in-law last summer, and she had a question about the village, and the person who served us, I don't recall her name, but she took the time to answer questions and chat with us and make us feel like we were welcome. And, it was really special.
No, I hear that a lot too, which is great. We do these funny little things called the comment cards for certain events, and we get a lot of feedback I also get, people give reviews online and people send me messages, people text me messages, all this kind of stuff. But we're constantly hearing, or I am constantly hearing about just the friendliness and I guess the genuine side of our staff. They're just being real people, and it's great. We're definitely a kind of a bit of an old school, quirky place, but we have that genuine side that I think people really do appreciate and like. It's a comforting feeling to know that I can just be there a lot of the time.
Yes.
But when I'm not there, the personality is still really represented. I really like that. Like, we talk about the Cove family a lot.
Sure. And so you should. I think it feels that way for sure.
Yeah.
There's a connectedness.
Yeah, and in that way, a lot of us have been hired, or a lot of our staff have been hired internally, because it's like, oh, somebody who's growing up, they need a job. We're going to bring them in.
Sure.
And, or I have a friend, and a lot of that kind of year after year family staff needs is continued that way. I did want to touch back on something you said before about our because I'm famous with maybe not getting right to the point with my conversation, but diverging, as you would say.
Yes.
But I just want to talk about how some of the great things that we did over COVID too was our patio. And it really, really served us well to create another space outdoor that was really like, wow, this is such a relaxing space.
Yes.
It's a really functional space. It has a stage outside, because we were talking about live music every night. We needed to continue that in a little bit more of a professional and what's the word I'm looking for? Basically just a better space. We needed a stronger stage. So we have live music out there every night now, and it's just starting to happen again right now. Okay. And it's really quite a scene, and it allows people to see both areas of water too.
Yes, that's what I love. It's just, you're perched right at the intersection of the two lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really unique.
And
the beautiful trees, the mature trees that are surround you. And
we actually just crowned those trees last fall, because we were talking about, maybe we're starting to see a little bit of degradation to the trunk of this one. I'm like, no way, we are not taking that down. Like, it's almost like a hobbit area back there, right?
Yes.
the big Manitoba maple over top.
Yeah.
But we also do weddings, and we did my sister-in-law's wedding 2 years ago there on that patio, which was really nice. But do weddings around the back, down by the water, and you
can house the wedding party in the inn. With how many rooms now? 12 rooms.
Yeah.
So that's just
we did lose some rooms across the street when we had the fire, but we have 12 rooms. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had 15. But it's been it's been great to see people have a whole wedding, because on the corner we have the Upper Rideau bed and breakfast, and then the grist mill, and then there's the Victorian, a couple of other places in town where people can stay, so they just take over the town for a wedding. It's kind of a neat little thing.
That is neat. That's very unique. Not too many places you can do that.
Yes.
In like quaint little settings. Not of course you can take over hotels anywhere in any city, but this
is kind of a plus and a minus, because
different.
One wedding takes over the whole town. Right?
But you walk between the venues, and everybody's having that opportunity to create these beautiful memories that just are so cherished. So well, I just thank you for joining us today. It's really been a joy to get to know you better and to hear more of your story. And as always, we invite our podcast listeners and guests to share and spread the word about Watercolour, about the opportunity to move to Westport, to be part of just a beautiful, vibrant community. And I'm so excited for the future for the Cove Inn. I think there's a really bright future ahead with just continuing on a beautiful legacy.
I agree, you know, I really do. I think that when you're in the business for so long, whether your complete skin is in the game or not, as a child with my parents running the business, I had a lot of anxiety about whether I was going to be somebody that really wanted to take over. And you know, I'm so glad that I did. There are definitely some stresses in home ownership, in business ownership, as I'm sure you know all about. There are a lot of things to consider, and there are a lot of things to keep an eye on and all that. But yeah, I really think that that Westport is growing in such a nice way, and it continues to be an attractive place, and it continues to retain all of these really good elements that I think a small town has. Like we always talk about, Westport punches above its weight with so many great amenities and attractions, and just even the general feel, right? And it's a place that even, you know, all my friends that come from far away, they just love to come back to, you know. And that's an encouraging thing, because, you know, I am setting up my business and my life here. Yes. And you know, if I didn't have this in my life, I'd probably say, you know, I'd love to go back to Montreal and, you know, play music or something like that, you know. But I have all of this, and I have, you know, my children are really enjoying living in the community here, and they have, you know, just walkability with anything they want to do. And starting to do that actually is pretty scary. Getting up there already. Time really is precious. Ripping by. Yeah, but yeah, I really do think that there's a positive future for the Cove and for Westport and for your place as well here.
Well, maybe I can ask a few questions.
Sure.
Yes.
Your name is Stephen?
Yes, thank you, Seamus.
Like you've never met.
So how did you meet your wife?
Oh, right to it. So basically, I moved back here like I was telling before about my life in Montreal. I said, wow, I've got to make a move here. I just need to do something. And so I moved back here, and my grandmother, my mother's mother, Vera, she lived in Winnipeg most of her life, and she said, well, I'm coming to Ontario, and if you want to see me, come to Westport. So she told that to all of her family. And my cousin Lana from Toronto area, she said, oh, I'm going to bring up my friend and come see Grandma. And that friend became my wife, Megan.
Oh, isn't that
Megan.
Sweet?
Yeah. Oh, wow. That
That's
is
really
wonderful.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's like, you can't screw it up. Close, it's almost like
family already.
It's kind of funny, yeah, because they're besties, you know.
Yeah, don't mess it up with the bestie.
Yeah. But we've had a you know, from her moving to a small town like this, it was a huge shock. At the same time, they had a cottage in Haliburton, actually. Oh. Yeah. Just outside of Haliburton, and so she got to understand the whole cottage country, small town dynamic a little bit more. Okay. And I was driving back and forth, and she was driving back and forth in the beginning of our relationship, Toronto and Haliburton. And then she ended up moving in with me. I just bought a little house just around the corner from where I live now, actually on Mountain Road right here. And yeah, she's worked for Canadian Cancer Society. She's worked for Easter Seals, and now she's been, I think it's 11 years now with 4-H Canada. Yeah, so she's a lot of nonprofit work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh. She's a force. She's amazing.
So now I want to ask you a couple things about Westport tourism.
Yeah.
Because the business center that you have upstairs now at the Cove, I know through ministries we've been involved with, we've done prayer retreats at the Cove, and all those people really liked being at the Cove. But yeah, just maybe you could talk about the business center and Westport tourism and the Opinicon. Like there's all these iconic places around. So I'll just pass the mic to you.
Sure. I don't really think that our area is really known as a business center kind of place, right? But over the years, we have been a place that has, especially before COVID, we had this real kind of conference, small getaway, team building kind of angle that we had with quite a few businesses, and people were coming on the regular, cyclically through maybe twice a year, but definitely once a year, and it was really great. And we had that lull, obviously, but since then we have a space down below, underneath the cove, if you will, that overlooks the water. Admittedly, it's a stunning little space. It's beautiful. You're looking right over the water and the escarpment to the pond. And it was a fitness center and then a spa. And so now it is just an open canvas kind of place, which we're calling the meeting room. We're officially calling it the meeting room. And it's perfect for a small conference, or, I mean, some people are using it for yoga space. Some people are using it we have this artist group that want to come in a couple times a year and rent it for a whole week, and they have 20 artists in there with their canvas. So it's a multi-purpose space located just beneath the bar area at the windows, if you know what I'm talking about. And it's a nice quiet spot that I think will be a great place for us to market in conjunction with the fact that we have 12 rooms. And so the amount of attendees matches the size of the needs of the room, and it's just a great little space. Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about your involvement with Westport Tourism, because that's
Tourism,
part of it that I've just been learning about, trying to fill in the shoulder seasons.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's the key word in our tourism industry in this area, as I'm sure it is in Halliburton and Muskoka. It's the same story everywhere, right?
Right.
But yeah, we do have to have a concerted effort as a community, and sometimes it's tricky with the weather in the wintertime for us to really be able to do anything that we can attract people with. That's why we have live music every night too, as well. It's actually been really helpful that way. Yeah. But tourism in a business sense. I don't know. I feel like we've really got a good opportunity to grow in the off season now that we have a few more amenities in the area.
You were mentioning, I think, to me, some trail biking groups do they come through and stay?
Yeah.
The gravel bike groups, and have you had some other types of like activities that are more like fall and spring rather than the dead of summer when it's patio season? Yeah,
I mean, we do have some groups that come through that are basically indoor-based groups. Like we have some people that do rug hooking, we have some people that do scrapbooking, we have some people that do beading. It's
fantastic.
It is good. There are these little groups of quite often those groups are women that are have a little community. Yeah. But we also have, like you say, some outdoorsy groups that admittedly it is a little bit weather-based. Okay. I would love for us to see much more of a cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, hiking group of people, like organized groups. We have Rideau Trails groups that come through and hike in the fall. Okay. Nice. And we also have the Ottawa Bicycle Club that comes through. But I'd like to see some more of that in the deep of winter. However, it's all weather-based, right? Right. Last year we had an incredible winter, So we had a lot of skating on the pond. Nice. And I know that some people were bringing their skis up, but yeah, it's definitely weather-based, which is that's the trickiest part of it all.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So to really put your efforts in with that marketing to do that is a little bit difficult sometimes.
I
But
can appreciate that.
yeah,
Yeah.
we need
And
to.
Just having grown up in Mississauga, Oakville, and having, grown up lucky enough to have a cottage off and on around Minden, Dorset, Carnarvon, Haliburton, Huntsville, those were the towns we would go to. So just to see Westport coming to life in the off season is just, I feel I've given my heart to this place and I want to give my heart to this place. So to see, having had lunch with Joe Aragona yesterday and hearing through Randall Goodfellow about Westport tourism initiatives for hiking and also for biking. And then as Kevin Rankin reminded me about the Vision 2030, when there are 200 families living in Watercolour, in just a matter of, 2 families a month times the next 5 years, I think that will change the stability of the town in the off season a little bit, but much more so with Westport tourism, champions rising up for biking or champions rising up for hiking. It'll be very interesting to see.
Did you have a spillover from the Westport Car Show coming? Did you have stays booked for that?
Oh yeah,
in the summer?
It booked up pretty quickly. Yeah. I mean, I think he has 300 attendees.
350 maybe.
350.
They're thinking for this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
Joe asked me to make 300 flyers for each of the swag bags, so I heard it was 300, but that's a lot, right?
Yes.
And but a lot of those people won't be here for the whole weekend. They'll just drive in the morning
For the
and
day
they'll
trip.
head home,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But things like that they're incredible. The whole aura of the event really shows well, and it's very attractive. It looks very organized. It was like a home run on the first year, so that's actually a real win, because not always, I should say, is it a home run on the first year.
Yes.
We have some other really great things happening in the high season, like the 2 music festivals that we have now. Music Westport, which is the 18th year.
Wow.
That'll be on, it's always the 3rd Saturday, or 3rd weekend of August. And then the 3rd weekend of September is Westport, which has actually really become an incredible community festival. Probably, maybe arguably the best community festival that we've had,
Wow.
Because it engages everybody.
Yes.
And if everyone feels like they can, I feel like people that are outside of the village are just coming in and meeting actual residents on their own porch. It's almost like just like a total meet and greet.
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
That is wonderful.
and just because of the sheer volume, some of the streets had to be kind of shut down. Like people would turn down the street and go, "Oh, I can't go down this." So I got,
There you go. Travel around with your little chair and go from one porch to another to listen to live music.
Yeah. I have some other musical ideas for some off-season happenings, like some workshop, more based ideas. I have something in my head happening. So hopefully that comes to fruition.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely the off-season is we never, ever, ever, ever are going to have to worry about the summer. Even during COVID, this place was teeming with people.
The natural beauty, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
water.
We just need to continue to put our focus on that time of year.
Because I was really surprised, a friend recommended going to the Eastern Townships, so I did. And
yeah, you told me about that.
But I was so disappointed. Every town we went to, of the dozen towns, there was no live music. And I thought, for Team Montreal, like, what's up? Why don't you have a Cove? I thought, wow, how blessed are we to have in this village live music every night.
Yeah.
And what a difference that makes, just in terms of connecting people and building community. So.
Well, for me, over the last little while, I've really realized that, you see it in the numbers a little bit, but you also just see it in, people calling in and saying, "Who do you have on?" Or, I heard you have live music, or I want to do this special that you have, and do you have live music that night? So I'm really noticing that people are paying attention and taking notice of the fact that it's happening. And it's hard in an off season to have a restaurant our size running every night. We don't open it every night in the wintertime, but even on the nights that we are open, you have to have something else a little bit attractive. So that live music has actually helped people. Yeah.
Well, thanks again. I'm really glad you were here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been a real joy. Yeah. So we invite you, our podcast listeners, watchers, to like, follow, and share us on all the platforms that we are published on, and to look forward to seeing you again and meeting yet another entrepreneur from the village or another homeowner, and to get inspired to call Westport your home.